really platform that we have been using, but we're talking through the participant side. So probably no need for Tony for you to log into the participant side unless you're curious, but that's what the link is for the CHDO grantees. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen. So if you are a CHDO grantee, this is what you will see when you click that link. If you haven't already registered, that's over here. Just like registering for any other website, it'll send you an email and you'll confirm, and then you can go ahead and sign in here. So you can see we just set up this test participant called DOH Neighborly. So it says, good morning, DOH. And this is what you'll see when you log in. You'll see all the applications, contracts, tasks that you have with the state of Colorado, with the Division of Housing, I should say. So I'll just go through what here is on this page here. So the first thing you'll see is My Tasks. So that is a way for the Division of Housing staff to ask you, the grantee, to submit something to us. So it's going to be something like, could you please submit your 504 self-certification or something like that. You can go into here, you'll receive an email saying that you've been assigned a task. You can go into here and it will tell you what the task is. It'll give you some details about the task, the due date, and it will allow you to upload a file here. So usually these tasks, I don't think we're going to use them a whole lot for CHDO, but just so you know, usually these tasks are just going to be something like, please upload this document. If you do have any questions or need additional information, there's a place here where you can put in messages. I'm sorry it keeps popping up this like translation thing. I don't know what that's about, but we'll just live with that. Once you've uploaded your file, once you've completed the task, just mark the task complete, and it will send a notification to your asset manager. I'm just going to X out of that for now. If you have any existing applications or other contracts, so they'll also show up here on the front page. But today we are going to look at the demo CHDO contract that we've put together. This is also where you'll start a new application if you are starting a new application. So this is what you'll see on the first page. Just checking my notes to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. This is what you'll see when you see the first page. You'll see the amount funded. One thing I wanted to point out on this page is in the contract. For those of you who have previously had CHDO contracts, you'll remember that there's a payment schedule and we often retain $500 or so. So that's what this is. So it has the entire amount funded was $30,500 to this test case. $30,000 is available anytime you want, and the $500 is retainage. So this is just another version of that payment schedule, and it's a reminder to both you and us what that retainage is. So we don't have to look it up in the PDF contract anymore. Just general information up here if you're about what the name of the case is you're looking. If you have multiple contracts, you can see up here which contract you're in at any given time. So that's what you see when you first click on the contract, and that's also what you see if you ever click on this account over here. Your overall account is going to be over here, like your login details, to change your password, stuff like that. While we're on this home page, also point out this help button down here. If you have trouble with the Neighborly software itself, like you need help changing your password or something like that, you can click on this help button, and that will send a message to Neighborly. Of course, if you have a question about the contract requirements or anything like that, you should contact us, the state of Colorado, whoever your asset manager is. So I'm going to go through these tabs on the side. This is sort of your navigation tab. So we looked at account already, and now we're going to go over to reports. So this is what you'll see. I know a lot of your contracts were just signed in December or sometime like that. We're probably just going to start for all of you reporting starting January 1st, 2021. So the first report will be January 1st, 2021 to March 31st, 2021, you'll see that that report is due on April 20th, and then it's not available until March 31st, 2021. So this is a weakness of Neighborly. You're not able to see a report until it's due, essentially. So that's why I've changed for this demo contract. I've backdated the contract for a previous date range so that we can see the quarterly report. So don't be surprised when you log in and you can't actually open any of these reports. That's normal. We will eventually have PDFs of these reports on our website once we get our act together. Honestly, every time I look at this, I see another typo or something like that. So we're still working out some kinks, but once we get through all that, we will be putting this on the website so you can go in at any time and look at that. But that's another reason why we wanted to walk through this today, so that you could get a head start or a look ahead at what the quarterly report will be, so there's no surprises. For those of you who have had CHDO contracts in the past, the questions are very similar to what we've asked in the past, so there shouldn't be anything surprising here today. So I'll just go into this quarterly report. So it's just going to ask us, please comment on the progress of any home eligible projects or project application. Just want to know how things are going with that home eligible project that you included on your CHDO application. And then also the status of other development projects. Maybe your home eligible project isn't moving forward, but it's because you're really spending a lot of effort on this other really cool program. We just want to know what's going on, sort of keep updated on how everything's going and if there's any assistance we can provide. We also ask if any board members changed this quarter. As you all know, that is a CHDO requirement, is the makeup of the board directors. So if there is any change, we would like to know here. And then once you've completed this all, you'll say complete and continue, and it will take you to documents. You can see there's only 2 documents here. So one is the required insurance certificates. This is only required if something has changed. If you've changed insurance or if it's renewed or anything like that, we'd like an updated copy. If not, no worries, just leave it blank. Most people change or have insurance renew once a year, so you're probably only going to submit this once a year. And again, for the board member list, you don't need to submit this every quarter. Just if something has changed, then we'd like a new copy of the board member list. If you don't need to have anything to upload, that's fine. You can just say complete and continue. And then it will take you to the submit button. And then you can electronically sign. So that's the quarterly report. As you can see, it's not very not very complex, shouldn't be anything too difficult to fill out here, just sort of keeping track of how everything's going. So I will also walk you through the completion report, which again is going to be fairly similar to completion reports you've seen in the past. It's sort of a combination of the completion report and the self-certification for those of you who've done that recently. So again, we're going to ask you to refer to the project plan of the application and comment on how everything went this year. Were you able to accomplish what you were hoping to accomplish? Did something go wrong? Were there any obstacles to completing that? Now you'll notice that it says to refer to the project plan section of that application. In future years, I've heard my English. In future years, you'll see that you'll be able to access your application here, and the project plan will live right here. For this year, since you did not apply through this system, it's just in PDF form, and we're not gonna fill out the application. That's just a lot of data entry. We'll probably just upload a PDF to the document. So if you do need to refer to your project plan, can't find it in your files for whatever reason, it should be living here in documents as a PDF for this year. And then in future years, you'll see it right here in application. Has your organization been awarding matching funds for upcoming year? Yes or no? The amount of the funds and the name of the entity providing funds. We're also going to ask for your Section 504 or your 504 self-certification if you've updated it, or if you haven't uploaded it already. By this point, this is the completion report, so by this point, most contracts should have already submitted it, but if for whatever reason you haven't, or you did need to update it, that's why we're asking for this here. And you can go ahead and upload that. If not, if you don't need to upload that, then no worries there. We do want to know if there was any deficiency found when you were filling out that Section 504, and if so, what steps have you taken to remedy it? Again, complete and continue will take you to Part B. Once again, if you've got a more recent financial audit than what you submitted with the application, it would have been a year since you submitted the application, so probably there's a new financial audit. So if you could upload that. We're also going to ask if the budget information in Step D of the application is accurate. Again, in future years, that will live down here. This year, you can refer to the PDF that's in the documents. We just want to know, if there was any major changes to your budget. Maybe you had staff turnover, and so your salary line is slightly different than what you said it was going to be. I don't know, maybe you bought a lot of paper clips or something. I'm kidding. Is there segregation of duties within your agency? Yes or no? Who approves payments and who signs checks? Those can be names or titles. These next questions under cash management refer to, so the first question is, were funds received as advance or reimbursement? I think all of you were reimbursement. That's our standard. It's really not common for us to do advance, especially not with CHDO funds. So most of you will not have to answer the rest of these questions, but just click on reimburse and then you can leave the rest blank. But they pertain to if you have cash on hand and you earn interest on that advance payment or whatever, we'll want to know that. Those are state rules that we want to know. Great. And then you'll click complete and continue. And that will take you to the certification. So this is just the sign off that everything you've submitted so far is true and correct, that you've complied with the requirements of the contract, and you'll electronically sign here and date it. I won't actually sign this right now because the neighborly will think for a while. So once you've signed this certification, and this should be signed by the authorized signatory for the organization, it will send your asset manager an email and let them know that the completion report has been submitted. At that point, the asset manager will come in and review the entire contract, make sure everything was submitted, make sure everything is complete, and electronically sign. So you, participant, grantee, you do not need to sign this last tab here. That's for the asset manager. If you do sign it, it's not a big deal. We'll just erase your signature. And then that will start the closeout process for the state. Any questions about reports?
I don't see any in the chat feature, but I would like to give folks maybe a second or two if they do have questions to write it in.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think anything is too complex there, but I did just want to walk through so you know what questions you will be asked at the end of the or quarterly and at the end. I do feel like I think I said this, but I do feel like I keep finding typos, so there may be slight tweaks, but none of the questions will change drastically. So let's go over here to draw requests. I know this is what everybody's interested in is how to get money. So you'll click add a draw, and then you'll enter your description here. So it'll be probably you'll just enter salaries or something like that, or Q1 salaries or whatever it is you're requesting. And there's a couple things it's going to ask for. So it's going to ask for the summary. That's what you already typed in. You can change it here if you decided that you didn't enter an accurate summary. It'll ask you for the expense period, the start date, and the end date. So that's the period of time which the expenses were incurred. This is similar to what you submit on your payment request form normally nowadays, for those of you who have current CHDO contracts. Or we're also going to ask, we're also going to ask you to upload this payment request form, which I will open. Whoops. Apparently it's not going to let me. Let me try this again. Okay. So this will download an Excel document that looks like this. As you can see, fairly simple, fairly similar to our previous payment request form. I just noticed there's a typo in the word request. Please make sure that your dates here match the dates that you put in Neighborly. Please make sure that your amount here matches the date that, or the amount that you've put in Neighborly. Well, the reason we're doing this as an Excel document is we do want the signature of their authorized official for when you're requesting funds. That doesn't seem to be an option within Neighborly, within the draw request at this time. So that's why we are requesting this payment request form. But hopefully it's not too much hassle for you to complete that. Go back over here. And then it will also remind you to upload the timesheets and pay stubs like you currently do over email now. You'll just upload it into here by clicking this upload file. You can upload as many documents as you want. I don't even think there's like a file size limit. If so, it's fairly large. So go ahead and submit whatever it is you would normally submit, timesheets and pay stubs, for the draw request. Down here is where you'll put the amount requested. Again, you'll ask for this first category first, and then at the end, you'll ask for the retainage. Couple things. Once you submit the draw request, your asset manager will again get an email, and the asset manager, a couple things the asset manager can do. They can approve it as is, or they can reject it, send it back to you. Maybe you forgot to upload the timesheets. They'll just reject the draw requests, and there's a place for the asset manager to type in, and please upload the timesheets or whatever it is that you are missing, and then you'll get that email saying that your draw request was rejected. And you can edit your draw request, upload at that time.
Teresa, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Kim asked a question. For the payment request form, you want us to download it, fill it out, print, and get the signature, then PDF the signed document, or are you looking for some other type of signature?
Thanks, Kim. Yeah, either that, or we would be fine with electronic PDF signature. It's just that Neighborly itself doesn't have the option for a signature. So either one is fine, either a PDF signature or a like literal printed, signed and scanned signature. So the other thing the asset manager could do is approve a partial payment. Maybe they're going to approve the entire 30,000, but retain the 500 until the end of the project. So I believe what will happen then is this draw request would be approved, and then you'd need to submit a new draw request for that final $500. Okay. Okay, and then it does give you the option to view the sort of, this is like seeing into the backside of what we're doing on our side. So once the asset manager approves the draw request, you can actually see that date completed. Once these are entered, you can actually see that. Once the budget approval is completed, and Tony, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing it will be 2 to 3 weeks after the budget approval signature comes in for the check to actually go out. So you can keep an eye on this, and if it's been like a month and you haven't seen the check, but all these things have been completed, then maybe you can reach out. But know that it will take, a couple weeks after the final budget approval for you to get the check. Any further questions on the draw request? So the draw requests and the reports are like the big main things that we're going to be looking at today. I'll go through the rest of it too, but I want to stop for a minute and let people ask questions if they have any.
I'm not seeing any in the chat feature, so I think you can continue.
Awesome. And then just you can at any time look on either the draw request page or the account page to see how much money has been requested, how much money has been spent out or paid out, stuff like that. So for those of you who have previously had CHDO contracts and remember the final financial or the financial quarterly financial status report or whatever it's called, something like that, we're no longer requiring that because all that information is already in the system for both of us, both parties to look at any time. If there shouldn't be any errors in this draw request because it's like precisely the place through which you'll draw those funds. But if you do notice anything wrong, just feel free to reach out and let us know. Cool. So the application, I am expecting, so in future years, you will be applying for the CHDO operating contract and other contracts through the Neighborly system. So feel free to look through the application if you like. I do expect some further tweaks because we haven't totally nailed down exactly how we want it to look. But as a general overview, feel free to look through this. Again, don't expect any of this to be filled out, really. It should just be pretty blank because we probably just aren't going to do that data entry. Again, if you want to look at the application for the 2021 year, we will be uploading it in documents. Speaking of documents, if you can't remember whether or not you uploaded your 504 self-certification, you can check here. So any document that has been uploaded to this file, any type of document that you uploaded as a report, as you uploaded as a task, however you uploaded it will show up in documents. So if you ever need to look at what you submitted to the state, that's where you'd find that. And finally, the users. If you have a new staff member or you want somebody else to help you fill out the Neighborly reports, you as the grantee have the capability within Neighborly to add a user yourself. So you'll just add their email. That person will have to register their email just like you did in order to get access to that case. But just know that you don't have to ask us to add a user. Feel free to add whoever you want to your contract. Let me just check my notes here and make sure there wasn't anything else I wanted to mention. I do want to alert you all to the fact that the back button in your browser does not work in Neighborly. Don't hit the back button. You have to click around. It definitely takes some getting used to for sure. It's definitely a weakness of Neighborly, but just to be aware of that. The other thing is sometimes you'll see something like, let me see, actually, I can't remember. Yeah, okay. So on the quarterly reports, even though I have a little hand guy that looks like I can click here, it doesn't do anything. I'm clicking and it's not doing anything. You have to go over to this blue arrow to click it. So that's another weakness of Neighborly, just something that takes some getting used to, but once you've gotten used to it, hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. The two things, essentially at this point, two of the things that will be assigned, or some of the things that will be assigned to you are tasks and reports. For some reason, the reports show up here in your case and only here. And the tasks show up, if you go to this home button, they show up on your home page and not in your contract case. I don't know why that is, but just to know that some things show up. That's where those show up. So tasks you do on the homepage here, and draw requests and reports you do within the case here. Another thing I did want to mention and forgot to mention is that please remember to hit save when you're filling out these quarterly reports. It does not autosave. So if you've spent ages and ages composing the perfect paragraph here and forget to hit save, that work will be lost. So do please remember to hit save. And then finally, we are really hoping that this software that we're going to be using for pretty much all of DOH contracts will make things a lot easier, both for you and for us. If you do have any questions, concerns about how the system works for you, we are looking for feedback. It won't necessarily be something we can change right away, but if, you know, everybody's complaining about this one particular thing, that's something we can bring to Neighborly and say, hey, can we please, like, everybody's complaining about this one particular thing, can we please, like, make it a priority to change? So do let us know if you do have any feedback on the system as a whole. And again, yeah, we just are really hoping that this is a streamlined, simplified way to do your reporting and a little less tedious than the multiple PDF reports. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. If there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I'll go ahead and stop presenting my screen.
All right, great. Thank you, Teresa. I do want to give folks a minute or so to write in or unmute yourself for a question. I do want to remind folks that this webinar was recorded and will be stored on our website. I will send out a link to each of you after the webinar today to ask you for some feedback, either for the series, for the Neighborly database, just questions, concerns that you may have. We do have a webinar next month that I invite you to attend. It's going to be, let's see, on our RLF programs. Let's see. Any questions, any comments, concerns anyone has before we wrap up? All right, seeing none, hearing none. Thank you guys so much for attending today's webinar. We hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks.